Today, in Flex in the City, we talk to Aric Faber, the President and CEO of SalesPage, who values teamwork and building a strong, motivated team that aligns with personal and professional goals. From athlete to advisor, Aric talks about giving back to nurture talent and foster success. All that happening right now in Flex in the City. Hello everybody, this is Dave Micallef from the Henker Institute, and I'm standing in for my wonderful partner Rachel Treese today. I've got the pleasure of interviewing Aric Faber, who's the President and CEO of SalesPage. Welcome, Aric.
Thanks, David. Nice to be with you.
My pleasure indeed. We haven't met before this, but you told me a few things about you before we actually started the recording. For the interest of the viewers, I'd love to hear a little bit about you. Where did you grow up, and what influenced you to end up being the President and CEO of SalesPage?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit. It's been nice to be able to engage with you and what you and Rachel do in your business. I actually was born and raised in Ann Arbor, spent most of my time in my career as an entrepreneur. After a short stint in the corporate world, I decided that building my own business was more my style and my cup of tea. So after having a chance to build another business, a software consulting business called Blue Granite, I ended up selling that, and then shortly thereafter joined SalesPage to help them grow their business. And ironically, at the time, it was to get them out of the financial services business, to diversify away from just being financial services. After a few years, decided it'd be better to actually double down and really go after being a great global provider in what we do. So it's been a winding journey, mostly focused on entrepreneurship, building a business the way we want to build the business, and accomplishing the goals that we set out to do.
Very interesting. So it's interesting that you say that you initially decided to move away from financial services, but ended up coming back to it. It's a little bit like our own coaching and training business. The same thing happened to us as well. So thank you.
It's back in the day, this before CRM existed in the technology world. SalesPage was actually considered a CRM, and it was all about helping our clients figure out who they should be talking to, building stronger relationships. And it turns out those relationships and knowledge of what you do is something that we wanted to double down on. And it's been a fun journey to figure out how we can keep improving and building around our strengths.
Yeah, and for the benefit of the people that don't know what SalesPage is about, perhaps it's really, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about helping by using data, asset managers to actually improve their decision making, right, in terms of where they spend their time and money.
That's correct. SalesPage is all about leveraging the assets that an asset manager has, data that they own, they procure, technology that they have that can accumulate the data. But it's all about how do you use the knowledge and the information to really improve how you're servicing your existing clients or growing your business by going after the right opportunities and the right folks that would make a good growth plan for you.
Very good. Now, obviously, being an entrepreneur is somewhat of a lonely business. I know I'm an entrepreneur myself, but now you're back into the in quotes, I'm going to call it semi-corporate world. It's not quite as hardcore as some of the banks, etc. You must have met some leaders along the way. Did any of them inspire you? And if so, how? What rubbed off on you?
Sure. As I think about it, it goes all the way back to my childhood. I was an athlete growing up. I loved playing sports, and what attracted me to most to do things the way we do them is really the early coaches that I've had personally or watched over the years. The one of them behind me that you can see is Bo Schembechler, who is a famous Michigan football coach. My growing up was just so focused on team all the time, and really getting to understand how teamwork really led to success. But then as soon as I got in the business, from my first manager, Joyce Laws, who as a salesperson on the road, let me be myself, my authentic self, and really allowed me to go do business the way we wanted to do business within the goals that the company had. And then along the way, my first sales mentor, Mike DePoy, different asset management leadership that I got to meet along the way. There's so many folks that really influence you. And today, as I'm much further along in my career, I actually look to go back and get any mentor or anybody I've ever had in life back involved in the business some way, so they can meet my team, meet us. And then it really, all those leaders and mentors that I've had along the way, what they all have in common is how do you help pay it forward? How do you take your success, the stuff that they taught you, and then put it forward? So there's so many folks in my life that have had influence on me, from my dad to my coaches, to my mentors from different businesses, that it's hard to name one, but I think they all accumulate over time and really help guide how you want to build your business.
I think it's admirable that you actually take the time to re-involve them, keep connected, and let them see some of their legacy, I guess, right? Because I've, a bit like you, I've dispensed hopefully much wisdom over the years, but you don't often get feedback from it, right? You give it and it passes, and you hear no more. So yeah, well done on that. I appreciate that. What about your own leadership style? I mean, how do you like to show up as a leader?
It's interesting. When I first got into the business, you first get into the corporate world and do that, you feel like you have to follow a stereotype. So what is that successful business leader that you need to be? And I think over my career, I've really realized that authenticity, being who you are, doing it your way, is the most important thing. For me personally, the further along in my career, the more success I have, the more I double down on being myself. But I think that what that means is going back to the core of why I'm in business. I've never been a great technology person or a great operator or anything like that. What I've always enjoyed doing, and what I always think is the most important, is building a great team of great people, and allowing them to be themselves and play to their strengths. And so I think for me personally, it's just about caring about those around you, driving towards a common goal, common vision, and then figuring out the best way to accomplish it, by going and picking up the talent that can get you there. But that talent isn't good enough. It's got to be talent and great folks that can come together to achieve the common purpose, the common goal. And so I just love figuring out how to work with good folks, letting them do their thing. And then along the way, it's just so important for everybody to know that we care about each other. That when tough decisions need to be made, we're making those decisions from a good spot, that it's always for the betterment of the team and hopefully towards the mission of achieving our goals that we've set forth.
So, I'm picking up authentic leadership really important. I mean, of course, you've been inspired and learned a lot from sport, which obviously has a great ethos around teamwork, right? And growing people around you, right? So I read somewhere that retaining talent and keeping talent with you and developing them is really important. Tell us a bit more about that. How do you facilitate the growth of your people?
Yeah, a long time ago, I realized SalesPage is a small player in a big asset management space, and we've chosen to be based out of Michigan, which is not your financial center.
Right.
And so a long time ago, we figured out that we have to, I call it, figure out a way to play arbitrage with people. How do you get folks that know the financial industry that don't live in Michigan to be part of your team? How do you get talented folks to take a risk on a smaller business to go accomplish some tough goals? And when you're going about that, you realize that you need to build a culture and you need to invest in people more than what they're investing in you. So to me, it's understanding what is at the center of that person's goal in life, more than business, and why can they achieve their personal goals? We always say personal and professional goals here because I think they intersect. And for a person to come and invest in joining SalesPage, take a risk in joining SalesPage, it means we need to be focused on how can we help them achieve their personal and professional careers. There's a great book by Kim Scott, Radical Candor, and it really talks about every person is at a different point and stage in their life, and to truly inspire them, to truly grow them, to truly create a place where they want to work. You need to get to know them, know what is their central purpose, what is their central goal, and understand how that changes. And so at SalesPage, we spend a lot of time thinking about that, whether it's coaching our leadership to be aware of that, investing in belonging, so we understand how once we've attracted the talent, how do we retain the talent? And to me, it's always about allowing them to use their strengths, pursue their personal and professional goals within the context of us achieving our corporate goals.
I think that's really important what you're saying there. A lot of companies now are starting to think about hiring based upon sort of shared values and shared common purpose, right? And it sounds like you're already there. So commendable. What motivates you yourself? What gets you out of bed in the morning, Aric?
I've always had a desire to try to be the best in the world, or the best that I can do in the world, build something that leaves a mark. I think the further along in my career, the more I start thinking about legacy. The more you start thinking about what you do. So when I think about what gets me up in the morning, it's we've always wanted to build a business our way that it can achieve great things for our clients. And so I think if you have to be driven. I want to, my goal or my purpose, my personal and professional goals is to really be able to attract and work with great, talented, fun people, and to apply that in the right way. So I'm driven by a goal to be the best, or take a stab at being the best at what we do. I love building team. I love being able to track folks. Go up and meet people that you've never met before, but you hear are wonderful folks, are talented folks, and be able to have a chance to interact with them, work with them maybe someday. And then once you're there, I think it's not only important for me to be an authentic leader, but it's important for us as a firm to be authentic, to do it our way. One of the reasons we've always chosen to, I would say we're smaller than we could be, is because we don't necessarily want to go out and partner with any firm out there. We don't necessarily want to go out and attract the next private equity capital. We want to really be able to build a business and build a culture our way. So going for a dream, going for a goal, being the best at what you do to attract people that you really want to work with and you enjoy working with, all in an effort to just achieve things your way, the fun way, and be rewarding to your team members, your clients, and then if you are returning on your what you owe your team, you're returning on what you owe your clients, then I believe business will have a lot of success if we're following that playbook.
Yeah, I think it's still a people business, right? And there's, trust and flexibility, all those sort of things are still really important. You sound very driven. I'm definitely picking up on your energy there. So yeah, you must have some strong values to get you to where you are, because you sound very persistent, but you've been flexible, although you're persistent. You're very focused and driven, as I said, right? I'm curious, what would be your core values?
I think doing it the right way, being true to yourself. There's several people out there that always said you can spend a lifetime building a personal brand. You can spend a lifetime doing it the right way, and if you just make some poor decisions for the wrong reasons somewhere along the way, you can sink that brand. You can sink your reputation right away. So I think for me personally, we have to make sure that folks understand that whatever success you get in life and in business, it's done the right way. You're doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
And for me, the right reasons are helping those folks around me. All those mentors and supporters that I mentioned early in my career, today, that's how do I help those, how do I pay it forward and help those that who are going to be coming up as the leaders in the future, who are the people that are going to be growing the business and achieving it forward. So it's doing it the right way, focusing on the team, understanding our legacy is really beyond the business. Our legacy is where do our team members and folks go afterwards, and how do they make a difference in the world? How do they make a difference in their community? How do they make a difference in their businesses down the road? And so to me, it's doing things the right way, investing in your team members, and really always thinking about how do you pay it forward.
Interesting. Talking of pay it forward, I mean, obviously, pay it forward implies that, the younger generations entering the workforce can benefit from some of that experience and wisdom and agency. I'm going to use the word agency, right? Obviously, financial services has had a turbulent run of it in the last 5-10 years, scandals and some negative perceptions around it. And we're seeing that younger people are more and more reluctant to join financial services. They prefer to go off and become entrepreneurs, for example, or freelancers or consultants or TikTok influencers, whatever it is they want to do now. Do you see a problem with attracting talent? And if so, what do you think financial services could do to be a little bit more better, I guess, at educating and attracting that talent?
It's funny. We think a lot about this at SalesPage and in our industry because we do need to attract that young talent, technical talent. People have a lot of opportunities to go anywhere. Ever since the pandemic, people can work from home more often. There's more flexible environments, and so you really have to think about why would somebody want to join our industry? Why would somebody want to join SalesPage? And the number one thing we think of, or we have to try to communicate to our team members, is I think the industry does a very poor job of branding how much we help. I think about asset management. I think about the democratization of financial investment products. We just published an article in our newsletter a few months ago about the access to advice, the access to capital, the access to investment counseling that is available today that was never available to the majority of people 50, 100 years ago. And so I think from our perspective, what the industry can do is a better brand. How are we helping everyone? How is our industry helping the world and our communities be better off really down the road? How are we helping people pay it forward? And I think the industry does a very poor job of branding the good that we do. Beyond that, the other thing that we've been trying to, I think about people arbitrage. How do we attract people to SalesPage? How do they why would they leave maybe a big bank or a big asset manager or another business out there and come to SalesPage? And I think we can do a much better job of being flexible to allow people to pursue their personal and professional goals at the same time. We've been fortunate to get folks that are at the end of their career that have no business working for a firm like SalesPage, but aren't ready to give up work altogether. How could we get them in a part-time leadership role? How do you get young folks that are in doing a job all day, but give them the flexibility to go pursue their other life choices within the context of working at SalesPage? So I think the two things that we've been focusing on that I think the industry could be a little bit better at is really sharing the good that we're doing much more effectively, but then also building a position, building a role that fits where people are in their life and what they want to do. And it doesn't always have to be 100% built around our corporate life or corporate career or corporate goals or whatever, but how do you really create positions which allow people to pursue their own dreams, their own goals. And then in many times, if they're successful in that, they'll go out and give back to their communities. So it's our success really becomes our team member's success, and our team member's success becomes the community's success. And that, again, just circles back and plays into the brand of us helping the broader society and folks around us.
Yeah, I certainly feel your passion there for community and paying it forward. And I tend to agree. Yeah, financial services could do a much better job of branding itself around that and just educating people in general around just how critical it is to the global economic ecosystem and people's lives, right? Their life cycles. If you were sat in front of a 21-year-old Aric today, what advice would you give him?
It's interesting. I think back to when I was 21. You think you know it all. The word that pops into my mind more often than any other word right now that I was not when I was 21, 22, 23 is curious. I think sometimes you get out of school, you're growing up, you get your degrees, you come out and you think, okay, I have to be driven, I have to go do it this way, and this is the path that's been laid before me, and this is the path to success. And I think sometimes along the way we lose the curiosity of, is there a better way to do things, or the curiosity of, is there something I'm better at than others, and is there it's into that continuous learning, that continuous improvement thing that's tied both personally and professionally. But if I had to go counsel myself as a youngster and a lot of others out there, I would say be more curious. Be more curious about everything. Be more curious about what you enjoy, where your strengths lie. Be willing to understand where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. be curious about, is there a better way? Just because you get into a business or you get into a department or you get into a role and it's always been done that way, is that the right way? We need to be respectful of our leaders. We need to be respectful of the folks that came before us and the wisdoms out there. But you also can be curious about, is there a better way? Could I do it that way? I think it took me far too long in my career to figure out the value of authenticity, the value of being yourself, the value of really exploring different ways. From a leadership perspective today at our business and the way I like to interact with others is you get a room full of different thoughts and different people and you debate out different ways of going about things. By definition, you might have 8 different ideas. We want people to come up with those different ideas. You want to be curious about, is there a better way? And then once you have that debate, it extends the options and it gives them a better way forward. So if I had to sum it up, Dave, into a single word, it would be, I wish I was more curious.
Yeah.
And to put that curiosity with drive, to put that curiosity with getting to understand and meet people who have different thoughts, different ways of going about things, get out of my bubble. That I wish I had been a lot more curious a lot sooner, and I would just encourage people to be that way. Go travel, go meet different folks, go explore read different things than you would normally read, and figure out how you can apply that to your situation and build something better.
Last question in and around financial services itself. What do you think financial services leaders need to do now to really make a big difference? How do you think, in general, financial services leaders should be showing up post-COVID, for example, and with all the changes in the environment that's brought?
I'll go back to what I said with the financial services. I think we need to understand that the world has changed. People do have a lot of options out there. I think there's a competition for the young folks and on why would they come and be part of our organizations? Why should they come into financial services? And I think we as leaders have to be focused on both internally and externally. When you're focused externally, it's about communicating what's our purpose, what's the vision of our firm, how do we help folks on the outside and really communicate the value we're delivering to our clients. And in distribution and asset management, it goes beyond us serving those financial advisors. It goes beyond us serving our bank clients. It goes down to how are we helping them serve their consumers and their customers. Right. Internally, I just go back to what are we doing to attract and retain the best talent into our industry? How do you get a great technologist or great data person to come to our business and not go to a famous tech company or something else? And I think that's where you go back to understanding who's working for you. Who are they as people? How can we help facilitate their dreams, their goals? I go back to my best mentors, the people who were most meaningful to me, were the ones who encouraged me to go out and pursue my dreams, encouraged me to work the way I wanted to work. And so from a financial leadership perspective, when you're focused internally, what are we doing to really allow our team members to blossom and build a culture that people are attracted to come to, attracted to work to, and then they can help us change our businesses, change our industry, change the world.
Right. Very refreshing attitude, honestly. I love hearing about that from you. So just last question, nothing to do with what you do for a living. What do you do outside of work? Because obviously, I think you must have a lot going on in terms of your work life. What do you do for hobbies and how do you relax?
Outside of work, I try to spend as much time as I can with my wife. She's an entrepreneur in her own right and as busy and as I am and as successful as I am. But when we step away from work, we want to enjoy what we do. There's 3 things that we do more than just about anything. We love to travel. We love to travel the world and get different perspective on different cultures, different ways of living. We still to this day love Michigan football and going to sporting events. So every Saturday in the fall, We have a large tailgate with a lot of different people from different wakes of life that come together and have a party before the game and go and watch our sporting or our football team. This last year, of course, Michigan was national champions in the United States, so we were happy to be watching a championship team. And then when we're not traveling or going to sporting events, we love spending time on the lake with our dog, relaxing, taking it down a notch, and then enjoying hanging out with some friends and really trying to slow the pace down. But we're fortunate that we have the opportunity to do that. And we're fortunate that as entrepreneurs and building a business, we have the flexibility to work anywhere, to enjoy life, and we've figured out how to be busy with work, be busy with life, but really blend professional life with personal life. Work hard, play hard, refresh, regroup, and then, as I said before, as we're getting out there and meeting different people, traveling the world, whatever that might be, it just opens up your eyes to other things, and hopefully you're learning along the way and taking good ideas, and you can take them back. But we love to just I guess more often than not, our fun is with other people and engaging with other people and is social. But that's travel, sports, and some lake time is where what we love to do.
And some fun. Brilliant.
Work hard, play hard has always been a mantra for as long as I've been in business.
Exactly. And why not? And more people should have fun. So Aric, listen, it's been a real pleasure, and I want to thank you for taking the time to share some very interesting thoughts and a bit about you, a very authentic leader who likes to have a bit of fun and looks after the people around him. So thank you for that.
Well, thanks, Dave. Appreciate you having me, and really the business that you and Rachel are building. It's one of those things that we can all learn from, and so appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast.
You're welcome. All right, take care. Bye-bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of Flex in the City.